Hey there, Jesse Marsch here, head coach for the Canadian men's national soccer team. My wife had just turned 50. When we went for the scan on her 50th, around her 50th birthday, pretty quickly after we learned that it was cancer. It was very treatable and it hadn't spread yet, and because we had found it early and because she was disciplined enough to go and get her mammogram every few years, we were able to be on top of it. So she had surgery, a lumpectomy, shortly after that. And then she had 6 weeks of radiation. And it appears that once, a lot of the discussion about cancer and breast cancer is that 5-year hump. So we're really excited that we're coming upon that this summer of 2026. And we're hopeful that, her new treatment plan will be a little bit reduced and that hopefully, the doctors have been able to do everything possible to try to contain it. The first initial reaction, and then the first week before we really knew what the treatment schedule was going to be and what the options were going to be, there's a lot of thoughts that run through your mind. Every 3 to 6 months, we were going in for new scans. And at one point she needed a biopsy in her other breast, and they weren't sure if some of the tissue in there might have also been carrying some cancerous tissue. So it turned out that the biopsy came back negative, and so that was a positive result from that. But every time for a while that we were going back in for new tests, we were kind of holding our breath and not sure what we were going to receive for information. But as the caregiver, I was just trying to be supportive, just trying to be positive. I went to every appointment with her. I tried to, learn about the diagnoses and the variables involved in what the treatments were and what the diagnosis was. She doesn't have it in her family. She's vegan. She doesn't drink alcohol. She's incredibly healthy and active. So there was no signs that this would have potentially been an issue for her. What she says is she was lucky. She went for screenings early and found it early, but a lot of times people get diagnoses that are far advanced, and it doesn't matter in those situations how big or great a fighter you are. It's all about your percentage of success and survival. And she was on a very high percentage of survival, and some people receive diagnoses that are very low. And so I think it gave us actually more empathy and sympathy for people that are further advanced in their diagnosis. And one of the feelings that we had truly was that we were lucky. Yeah, I believe Soccer for Cancer is an important initiative because we're at a stage right now for the sport in Canada where it's maybe on the precipice of being bigger than it's ever been. And I think the ability to use that platform, to educate people, make people aware. We've thought that sharing the story, it would be important for people to understand that this can happen to anyone, and that the best thing you can do is to make sure you stay on top of your testing.